productive relationships with doctors?
Yes. Number one is to do not go alone, especially if you're like me, because you hear stuff, but you don't understand stuff. Partly because it's about you. So I was blessed. My wife is very good at listening, and she asks really good questions. My favorite story is when we met with our first neurosurgeon. She asked him several questions, and he said, "You know, nobody's ever asked me that before." So I'm thinking, I'm with the right person here. So, yes, take somebody with you, take notes, record the conversation if you need to, so you can go back over it later because they will say things that will go right by you at first. And only later do you realize, well, wait a minute, did he say this or did he say that? Um, and so maybe write notes and, uh, on with some of my doctors, well, especially now, you can either maybe call a nurse and ask some questions, ask the doctor and have him get back to you, or you may even have, like I now have with some of my doctors, where I can go through a website and send them a question and get an answer back. And for me, that's always good because I do much better. If you and I have a conversation, I always like to say, if we were talking about going to a movie, going to see a particular movie, later that day or the next day, I'd be thinking, Haley, I know you and I talked about going to see a movie, but I don't remember which one. If we do it by email or text, it's like I can go back, oh, that's exactly what she said. And so then it makes it easier for me to send back a question and say, Haley, you said this. Is this what you meant? Because there's so much nuance to it that you don't get because we don't live in that world. That's not part of our world. That's like, me having done accounting work. If we're having a conversation, I know exactly what I mean, and you can ask me a question, I could give you a good answer. But when it's not your world, you don't always get that. You don't know that there's something there that you don't understand exactly what's going on. And I'll give you another quick story because I applied for disability, and when I was answering some of those questions, my wife said, "No, that's not it at all. It could be something as simple as, can you drive?" Well, yeah, I can drive. Oh, but wait a minute. I don't drive at night. I can only drive short distances. I've got all these other limitations. So all of a sudden, it's like, that's the question really wasn't, can you drive? It's, are there limitations or impairments to you driving? So, and that's something else with people when they do, because a lot of people with GBMs need to really think about disability. So, what's that whole process? And one of the differences is if you have some physical thing, like if you lost an arm, you have an obvious disability. When you're having brain tumor stuff, it's not as obvious that you have some kind of limitation. Because on with I had insurance, disability insurance. When I was talking to them, they were thinking I could still work in my profession, and I said, well, no, I can't. Number one, I can't sit for more than maybe a half hour at a time. I can't work all day. If you know, for me, for my brain, it's like if, well, we have a 5K here today, right? So there are people going to run. If you can get, three-quarters way through the 5K, it's like, I'm not sure I can make it to the end. You could say, no, I'm going to just push through to the end. I'm going to make the finish line. The brain doesn't work that way. When the brain says, I'm done, the brain say, I mean it, I'm done. It just stops. You can't, if you're trying to work out some kind of a problem or trying to write some kind of a document, when it can't put words together, it's like, I might take a nap or I might go do something for an hour or two and come back and be able to finish. That's how the brain is different. And that's how, with disability, it's very different. In fact, you may not be able to work at all in your profession and you can't do anything else. Um, so that has to do with disability, but that's also how you live your life. And like I was talking about earlier, just adapting, figuring out, okay, what do I do now? If I can't do that, um, and for some people, it can be very sad. It's like, boy, I used to be able to do this and now I can't. I've been involved with our local Boys and Girls Club for about 6 or 7 years now. And I'm the treasurer there, so I'm not I'm not doing the same things I did when I used to work, but I'm still using the same skills as when I worked. And part of it too is just being involved with talking to people about what's going on with the club and what they're working with, and just just being another resource for them that they could talk stuff out, or maybe developing some ideas, uh, or just different ways to help with in terms of how we budget our money and all those kinds of things. But yeah, most people, unless you lose some physical part of yourself, you probably can find some ways to still use your skills, what you like to do. It may not be exactly the same. In some ways, like for me, this is better. I get more, as much as I got to do and enjoy in my professional life, what I'm doing here. And part of it is probably is because it's different when you can connect with something more specific, like the kids at our club. I'm not working with the kids, but I know what I'm doing is helping people who work with the kids.